Fixing the hair. And we're live. Welcome to Founders Chat Live, your number one live stream for the hottest business news, even hotter takes, as well as some tips now. This week, we've got some crazy news for you guys. Is your entire online business dead? New data confirms that 60% of Google searches are now zero-click. Few companies were actually almost put into the ground, and we're talking few million-dollar media companies. We'll also be looking into the 14 billion TikTok deal and the 10 billion fee involved, and FTC's click to cancel mandate is here as well. This and some more other news coming up now. Welcome. I'm Alex. This is Joe as always, and welcome to Founders Chat.
Nice.
I'm getting better. I'm like a professional now. Shall I do the microphone voice? Hello.
No, I'm pretty sure you fixed this week compared to last.
Right. Shall we start with the big one? TikTok. The US government has officially certified a $14 billion deal to establish new American-owned version of TikTok, ending the long-standing threat of national ban. The deal includes a slightly controversial $10 billion brokerage fee paid to the US government by the new owners to resolve national security concerns. For small businesses and creators, this provides the real regulatory certainty, although there's been some other things around that. But I also wanted to highlight, this is from Bloomberg, the US has been slated to receive the 10 billion as a fee from investors.
Yeah, your camera's froze, by the way. Your camera's froze. I've just checked the YouTube. I wasn't sure if it was just the StreamYard, but I've just checked the YouTube, and yeah, your camera has frozen for some reason. It is frozen on like a very awkward smile.
Oh. Interesting.
I wasn't sure if it was just me, but it feels really weird. It feels like I'm talking to like a puppet, if you know what I mean.
Well, looks fine on StreamYard. I'm gonna read. Well, carry on chatting about the topic.
You're moving again now. You're moving again now. So I think it's fine. But I just went to go and check the YouTube, and it was very freaky. Whereas
maybe I'm AI.
Oh God, maybe you are, and maybe you've actually been replaced.
I've been replaced by AI. I've been deepfaked.
Maybe that's what it is, because it is scary.
Maybe you wanted the company for yourself, Joe. So you got rid of me. You sent Trump to get rid of me, Don Corleone, and
to be fair,
replaced me with AI. Anyway,
we all knew he was going to do something like this. He's been very open about it, and you can, So
I just want to highlight that he changed the federal law. So Trump made a law and said that the TikTok either needs to be shut down or be sold to domestic owners, right? Because of this.
To be fair, this started under Biden. This is started under Biden. In fairness, Trump just didn't get rid of it. He just continued what Biden was going to do. And they started before the election.
So the whole security concern, I want to talk about this actually, because I always found it a bit funny that people say like, "Oh, TikTok's stealing my data. It's a security concern." It's like, because China, owns it, and it's a security.
To be fair, the TikTok algorithm is scary. How good it actually is. It's the scariest algorithm by far.
Well, that's true, but like it's it's been clear from the start, for anyone who understands the topic, it's been clear from the start that they're only in it for the money.
Yes,
And the reason for
obviously.
that it being is, if you actually look at, the concerns, oh, it's owned by China, they've got access to the data. Cool. But you know what? Most companies in the US are part owned by China anyway. They already have access to that data anyway. If you look like Blizzard, what are the biggest companies? Like Riot Gaming, like the biggest gaming companies in the States are owned by Chinese companies already.
It's like
Nobody's
how
talking
the
about
UK.
that. Like, most of the software is part owned by Chinese investors.
It's like how the UK government. It's like how the UK government always complain about like Saudi Arabia's human rights record, but when Saudi Arabia own Harrods in the Middle East own Harrods in all of London's big property buildings, you know what I mean? It's hypocritical. But it's again expecting politicians to be, what's the right word? Not have ulterior motives. It's just not realistic. Biden wanted to get rid of TikTok, so Trump just continued it and saw a chance to make some money. Are you shocked? He's never tried to present himself as a good person. He just said he's going to run the US government like a business, and that's exactly what he's done.
So they've made up all of this, consent bullshit, which is like, okay, they've got access to it already, and they got access to more stuff. There's been a massive thing last year as well, where like a lot of people started like using a lot of smart devices at home. Like, now you've got a smart fridge, smart microwave, smart kettle, everything's smart now, right? The whole Internet of Things side that was big a few years ago. Like, everything's got access to internet. Your TV's got access to internet. Everything's got access to internet nowadays. And yeah, there's been a big scandal actually last year where they said that they found like all of these devices sending information back to China. Like, your fridge would be sending information back to China. Your streaming box from the TV has been sending information back to China. Like, it's nothing new. And let's be honest, like, does it really matter? Your data, you have no freedom, you will own nothing. That's the world today. If you're concerned about your data security, you've got only two options. Number one, you disconnect yourself from the internet completely and you just never use it. Number two, you super nerd out on like, you run like a custom Linux distribution. You don't use Windows because that's bloody stealing data and selling it everywhere. Right, so you can't use Windows, you can't use Chrome, you can't use anything from Google, Meta, Facebook, you can't use any social media. The only thing you can do is install a custom operating system and use like, what's that browser that criminals are using not to be tracked? Tor, I think. Tor, yeah, Tor. It's like the private browser that they use on the dark web to get access to stuff that you can't track. So unless you super nerd out like that and don't have any public accounts, or at least like nothing under your name connected to anything that can be tracked with anything, and ideally you have like a custom mobile phone or a dumb phone with no access to the internet. The truth is, everyone owns your data. It's already sold by all the big corporations. So people are just complaining about like, China's gonna have my browsing habits. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, when this was originally, because this originally started to come up around 2024 at the start of it when Biden was still in charge. So they obviously, I don't know what their Trojan horse was, because this is all anything ever is in politics. You see them try and pass all of these net zero bills. There's always something about being able to introduce clean air zones or something like that so they can make more money. Everything these, well, not even just big companies, but government entities do is a Trojan horse. They've got some other plan to benefit from. So it's clear that Trump's now is to make it some money because he's made a fortune. And he was honest from day one that he's going to treat the US government like a business, and he's done exactly that. He's the first ever honest politician. He does what he said he's going to do and does it, even if it's something insane like this.
Yeah, so it's just all like made up bullshit in order to just cash in.
That's all life is. That's all life in politics is. It's just a bunch of made up bullshit.
Yeah. So the $10 billion fee proves that national security is a very profitable business. They're doing it again now with Anthropic, right? We've talked about that last week. And they said like, oh, you're either gonna, give us everything we want, or we're gonna block you from doing business in US.
Again, making them an offer they can't refuse. Godfather stuff.
Oh, it's crazy. So there's another thing I wanted. I've lost it somewhere. Because talking point here is, does US version of the app mean that our content will finally stop being buried by the global algorithm? I don't think it will, because actually there's been a study. I don't have it here, but I've read earlier that they've noticed that hold on, chat about something for 30 seconds. I'll try to find it.
You know what? Well, I'll share my screen and I'll show the highlights from my last fight. That sounds like a fun thing to do for 30 seconds. Let's figure out how to share my screen. I'll present and I'll share my screen, share my entire screen, okay? So, oh God. Right, can I?
You can do a picture-in-picture. Yeah, there we go.
Josie, edit. Come on. Oh, here we go. Okay, please sit. I'll turn the volume right down. So here we are. Here's me, before I walk out there, getting my nice warm-up in. You know what? We can skip because you need sound for this bit when I'm getting my name read out and getting all hyped up. You see everyone's wearing the pink t-shirt. And now I'm going to drop the quick hands and left hook just before the fight starts, and then we're starting the glove touch. So we start here, backs against the ropes, so a 2-1-2 off the ropes, good little right hook to the body, dominant with that lead hand, throwing a nice two-phase attack, out of range of the counter, catches counter left hook on the glove, boom. Oh, that's slick, a nice lower side step from the right hand. Yeah, I'm trying to pin him back to the ropes, good left body shot, good post out, boom, nice three-phase right hand attack. Okay, he lands a nice little jab there. Watch this. Bang! Nice little left hook pushing him back in the corner. I stick my tongue out just for the culture. Boom! A beautiful two-phase right-sided attack. Circle off the left hook. Right hand, jab. And then I catch his jab, hit him with a left hook to the body. Boom! There's the money shot. Then I catch his two shots on the way out. Boom! Beautiful right uppercut on the body, left hook after. Nice little uppercut in the clinch. Two body shots, post out. And here we go. Right. After about 5 rounds, after a nice long 5-round fight, you're about to see my arm get raised because, as you can see, I am very happy and very sweaty. If someone told me after, I should get better hair gel because, yeah, the hair is crushed down, and then I'm just running to the corner and giving them a nice hug as he doesn't look particularly happy doing that. And I can drop it. There we go. I hope you enjoyed that nice little highlight, and I will stop sharing my screen now.
Did you? And we're back.
I hope you enjoyed that. I got to It was a really good fight. Right. The full 5 rounds on YouTube. It's well worth going to
watch. Drop a link in the chat, Joe, if you want.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So, as of March 2026, so since this happened, there's already been some reports indicating censorship of specific topics, including international conflicts, like the one at Gaza, and investigations into US federal actions. Also, some reports of geofencing and reduced global reach. Users are reporting that US hosted TikTok content is no longer reaching global audiences as widely, and content from outside the US is less visible to American users. So that's interesting. Will be will be interesting to see where that goes. And some users and some observers claim the platform has begun limiting content critical of US politics, particularly concerning conservative viewpoints, while amplifying content deemed politically favorable to the new ownership.
Have you ever tried like watching political content on TikTok? It's the worst thing you've ever seen. Like people who make it their job
I
to
don't watch
post about
it there,
politics,
so I don't know.
like who post three
I only
times.
watch one political guy on TikTok, and is the guy that does like he does UK news, and like all political news, government stuff, and he does like it in like a funny meme gaming way. It's absolutely hilarious.
Because if you watch, because obviously TikTokers need to make a living, so they're going to post 3 times a day, and you watch them make the same like bullshit rage baity political takes 3 times from both sides. By the way, the left will do post 3 times a day about some social justice warrior bullshit, and then the right will post 3 times a day about I don't know something offending them and that just trying to take away freedom of speech or something like that. It's the biggest minefield you'll ever spend 10 minutes of your life watching. It's the worst niche on TikTok. So you can't be that surprised when who shot $1 billion company taken to be out of broadcast in the US going to say, you know what, I'll censor some political views. You can't be shocked. This probably happens in every country just behind the scenes. Well, the UK government, BBC are the most liberal thing ever. That's the exact same thing as this, except that's behind the scenes and this is just known from the study.
Do you think there's going to be a big scandal once somebody actually tests this properly and shows some research behind it, and if they show that US government is now controlling TikTok algorithm on the US version?
I reckon there'll be like an online scandal where everyone screams at their phone screen or types on Twitter or angrily, but nothing will change. No one will care enough about this to go and protest on the streets and do something actually meaningful.
Or if US TikTok goes to shit, will people start shifting towards another platform?
Yeah, definitely.
Or will it actually open up potentially a window for maybe some competition, maybe something new? Amazon hasn't got social media yet, so
it's because when you think about it, people aren't loyal to something like a social media platform. Like that won't have brand loyalty the same way something like a sportswear will, or like a Nike will from their advertising. You seeing yourself in their athletes, yada yada yada. You aren't emotionally attached to a social media platform, so that stops doing what it was marketed to do, or stops being entertaining or whatever. You're just gonna go and do something else. I used to have like 5 hours a week on TikTok. I haven't opened TikTok in my phone in weeks. I never use it anymore because I don't enjoy it.
Do you know why people aren't attached to the social media anymore? Because the algorithms have changed. So if you look even like 5 years ago, stuff like YouTube, even TikTok and everything, like followers mattered. Having subscribers and followers like was a thing, and it meant something because it meant like people will see your content. Now, because they made everything, the algorithm has improved so much, and it's now finding people actively for your type of content.
For you page.
Pulling the content, yes, for you. So subscribers no longer matter, and therefore it's actually a lot easier to switch. So someone who is good on social media, right, they can switch platforms, and it's been proven, right, by the top guys that were just like, oh, we've only existed on YouTube, and now we're just gonna post on X, and suddenly 100,000 views, right, out of nothing, with like 0 followers, brand new account. And you can grow the account so quickly now. It doesn't matter if you have 0. Yeah, it helps authority in some case, but the impact of the amount of subscribers and followers is so much lower now than it used to be.
I think the only thing
If something
followers
else
even
came up, people would switch. It actually, another good example was Twitch. Twitch, for streaming, where Kick came out, people just moved. When Kick offered better payouts, everybody just swapped until Twitch started paying people back to come back.
Because if you look at, because people are typically like loyal towards like brands, movies, people are loyal, like sportswear, for example, because they see themselves in certain athlete ambassadors, things like that. Like I love Under Armour because when I was a runner as a teenager, I loved Anthony Joshua, I loved Dele Alli, I loved those sorts of athletes who were the front of Under Armour. And I wore Under Armour for years after that during competitive running, because you see yourself in what that brand represents. But that's not the same with social media platforms. You think of the whole following thing. The only one I can think of where following even matters is Instagram stories, because they're just right at the top. You don't get like explore page Instagram stories. That doesn't happen. You only see stories from people you follow unless you physically search their account up. And so that's the only thing followers even matter for anymore.
Hi, Diego, by the way, and Jet. We moved to YouTube only because...
What's up, bro? Nice to see you.
Because LinkedIn streaming is absolute garbage pile of shite.
Pardon me. Sorry, didn't mean to burp.
So, yeah, it potentially opens up
the Indian...
with the Indian
Funny guy. We need to invite him back. That was a good talk.
I don't know what happened to him.
Right, should we go on to the more interesting business topics?
Yeah, so, where's my...
I like this. I like this segment. I like this segment because we have like different perspectives. I look at this perspective as someone who like runs a one-man band and doesn't look, and while you, someone with a lot of experience working within big organizations. So I think it's cool, different perspectives.
It's time for business ambulance, guys.
I went on a date with an Indian girl at the weekend, actually. So just
if you have a business question, pop it in the chat or DM me on LinkedIn, and we'll try to answer it live. If we don't get to it, we'll get to it on the next week's show.
You can't call me racist either, by the way, because I went on a date with an Indian girl at the weekend, so check me out. There we go. Just making sure I'm not a racist either.
Questions prepared here. If you guys have any follow-up questions, pop them in the chat and we'll get to it. So here is one. Let me see which one is interesting. This one is actually good. Joe, you're going to have a say on this because you work with a lot of small businesses. It's a fairly basic question, but very important one, and I get it asked a lot as well. Do I need a website? What's the point? I'm starting a business and I genuinely don't understand why I would need a website. I'm going to providing pet care services. I've already got people interested in hiring me already. My plan was to start a Facebook page, but is a website better? I've got my company set up and someone to do payroll, prices, and advertising is all planned. One of the last hurdles is deciding to obtain a domain and get a website, or should I just make a Facebook page? I'm trying to not make stupid choices, and nobody in my life can help me with that. Do you wanna?
Okay.
What's your opinion on that, Joe?
Well, I'm someone who ran a business for nearly 2 years without a website. So you don't need a website, or you only need a website when your situation changes to the point where you do need one. I needed a website because people started asking, "Where's your website?" It was sort of a credibility thing. But obviously, my business is very different to running some sort of what was it? A pet? Was it a vet? Was it a vet?
Like pet services, I guess, like maybe
Something
pet grooming.
Something about pets. Let's just say pet grooming, right? I can't imagine a customer of a pet groomer is asking, "Where's your website?" The only thing I can think of would be good for a pet groomer is like SEO, local SEO, maybe, but no, it's not an essential thing at all. Get a website when you're established enough and when you're ready to take the next step. That's when you invest in a website. That's what I did. Like for the first 2 years of my business, I literally got by putting my best case studies in an offer doc and sending like cold LinkedIn DMs. You know, you don't need a website until you're established for almost any business. Plus, loads of people procrastinate on websites as well at the start. They'll spend like 8 weeks trying to get the perfect font and the perfect color scheme and all that sort of stuff. You get a website. You get a website when you're established enough and you're ready to take the next step and you want to generate some like inbound inquiries in that sort of direction.
So I'll tell you what, I've had a very, very, very specific point of view on this until about 6 months ago, and I'll explain why. 6 months ago and before that, I would say, just don't worry. Forget it. Either like social media, if you're a local business, just drop some literally just drop some leaflets. Maybe talk to some store owners. Just figure out, depending on what you're doing, right? So as always with any sales and marketing, you just need to know where your audience, where your customers hang out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's like people with pets, maybe you're after like younger people, I don't know. See if you can advertise, pop a poster in a gym advert board or in a
there's a dog park 15 minutes away from me. Put your poster in there.
Whatever, right? Like anywhere, even like pet stores. Maybe there's a pet store. Maybe they can, you can
coffee shops on common dog walking routes. You know what I mean?
So basically, the easiest way to get customers is always find out where they are and capture their attention and ideally talk to them. Mm-hmm. So that's always the fastest way, and it's still what I recommend. And until about 6 months ago, I would say completely ignore the website, just forget it. It's not worth it. I'm gonna make an exception now, and I'll tell you why. The reason being is that it's so stupidly easy with the current AI builders to make a basic website that's decent enough that might not actually bring you much traffic or anything. But if you think about the average customer, especially if they're like older, maybe if you have a younger audience, okay, don't worry about it. But if your audience is maybe a bit older, right? Having even like a basic website, even if it's just some photos, information, basic information, phone number or a contact form or an email, can actually help with a bit of credibility, right?
I've had.
If you actually want to look up the service, if you see
my first full month after investing in my website was my highest rev month ever. Like there were loads of people watching me when I finally got a good website and saw everything without having to directly speak to me. They were like, "Shit, I want to work with this guy."
But I'll put a massive asterisk on this, and like Joe said, do not spend time on it. So just go on to something like, heck, I hate it, but use bloody Lovable, Vercel, any of the One Page, I think is another one. Like any of the AI builders, you can make a decent info website, or you can use Wix, whatever. A decent website on like the cheapest plan. It's gonna cost like $5 a month. Vercel, you can do it for free actually. Lovable as well. No, Lovable, it's leaving branding it. Vercel, you can do it for free. So you can get a free website that you can finish in like 1 hour. Just don't use stock images, put some of your own photos, right? Some basic information about the services, and that's it. And don't worry about over designing it, perfecting it. It just lives there. It looks clean. It has the information. If anybody searches for you, it's there. You can link it to your Google Maps as well if you're a local business, because that's important. So rather than a website, I would make sure you list it on like Google Maps and everything. Google Business Profile, and just leave it there.
No, for real, like getting a website for my business, even though it costs a lot of money when I did it, I've like broken my record rev month like 3 times. Like it does help, but I didn't get one for 2 years. So in those initial 2 years, my business changed so much because I was finding.
And you always said for an online service, so local business is a bit different. So I would do it for local business. If you're not a local business, if you work with someone online, you run like an agency, consulting, anything you deliver online, don't worry, forget about it. Get an offer doc, and Joe can.
Yeah, like I might offer
what an offer doc is.
like I got from 0 to almost 2 years in my business. Got my best case studies in a Google Doc and sent it out to people who I was speaking to via LinkedIn DMs or cold email. I didn't overcomplicate it at all, but I finally invested in the website once. Well, the main reason I did it for one was because it differentiated myself from. So I was like one of the first people to create an offer doc and like use it on LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. Then people obviously copy when it starts working well. So I was competing against those sort of guys. I didn't want to be associated with them. So I get a nice high-end website to differentiate myself. But I only got the website because I found an offer that worked. I had customer feedback who would have liked to have seen on a website, and I was ready to take that next step. But don't invest in a website unless your offer has proven to have demand. It's realistic and likely you can get inbound demand from it. And 3, it won't take up that much time.
That's a big one. That's a big one. I want to highlight that what Joe just said.
Which one?
Do not invest in a website until you've already got customers and you've sold.
Oh, yeah.
That's the mistake people do. They don't have any customers yet. They've not talked to anyone, and they like spend weeks designing a website
and they spend 2 months.
Talk to people.
And they spend 2 months trying to make a perfect website. No.
Bro,
I have an MMA fight next weekend, so I'm getting my haircut 2 days before that fight. So I've got a perfect haircut for the cage. I'm not gonna, get a haircut this. I'm not gonna get a haircut this week if I'm fighting next weekend. You know what I mean?
I can sort you out.
But yeah,
Diego made a good point. Google Business Profiles work better when there is a website. Otherwise, Instagram. Yeah, I mean, Facebook can be good if you have good network and your customers are there. You can get into specific groups and so on. So the main thing is just it depends where your customers are. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, next question.
It's in a cage, bro. It's in a cage.
When did you know it was time to quit your job and go all in on your business? I've been learning a lot from the discussions here. I'm currently building something on the side while working full time. The classic dilemma is starting to feel real. If you have a stable, well-paid job, a mortgage, and a family, how do you decide when it's time to go full time on your side hustle? So
I don't think I'm the best person to ask for this. So I don't have a mortgage, kids, or family. I asked my boss for more money in my 9 to 5 job because I'd done all the work for an entire marketing team for like 10 months. I asked for more money. He said no. And I was like, okay, fuck you then. I'm gonna go and do it myself. And that's what I did. But I didn't have, loads of, I didn't have kids, I didn't have a mortgage. So it was a relatively easy decision for me. I'd saved up enough money to last like 3 months by myself. And I was like,
You
you know
had
what?
3 months runway at least.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm making such little money here anyway. All I need is like 1.5 clients, like consistent work to, be able to support myself on the same wage. And it took me about 5 weeks to get my first client for a pure cold situation. The paid client. I did a bit of free work to get that paid client beforehand, but it's a different. It sounds like he's got something set up. So you've got 3 months headway.
If you have more responsibility, if you have no responsibilities, I mean, the thing is, people also go very trigger happy and fast. Like, I'm just gonna go all in. So I would say there is a specific point, and the specific point isn't so much of how much money you have saved or a specific revenue. I would say it's about consistency. So when you hit the moment, when it comes to sales, I always say that first, one sale is luck, 2 is a coincidence, and 3 are pattern. Once you've made 3 sales, it shows that you have a pattern and you can probably sell your product, with still an asterisk of probably. That's as long as you've sold to complete strangers and not like friends and family.
Oh yeah, cool.
If you've made at least 3 sales to people who don't know you and didn't know you exist until recently, then you're in a good position to already start growing. The rest kind of depends on what are you selling. Is it like a one-off product, right? So those 3, 4, 5 sales, was it a one-off thing, or was it like a monthly recurring revenue? So what I would go for rather than a revenue number is I would go for number one, stability. Is the income stable? Have you proven that it's not gonna just disappear? Like, oh, you got lucky and now for 6 weeks you got nothing. So I would maybe look over like a period of at least 3 months where you're still bringing new sales, you're still selling, your pipeline looks healthy, you've proven that you can generate pipeline, you've proven that you can close sales, you've proven that the service works, so you're getting good reviews, you're not churning clients, because that's a problem. I've seen it where people, they start something and they're good at sales and they close. They get a shit ton of clients. They get like, ooh, I started agency, I've just closed 7 clients, I'm making 10 grand a month. And 2 months later, they've got 0 clients. Because they couldn't provide the fucking service, the systems failed, and everything flopped, or they talked to the wrong customers, right? They missed.
And it also depends on what your personality profile is as well. Because I'm someone who is a risk taker. It doesn't bother me potential downsides. But if you're someone who is a very deep thinker, who needs like 6 months runway to put all their mind at ease, all that sort of stuff, you need that runway. Well, me, I was fine with 3 months runway. I was confident I could figure something out in that time.
But you also knew, because you already had sales background and you've already done some side gigs for a while, you knew that you can sell. And that's one of the most important skills.
And I feel really disingenuous.
Because what I see is a lot of people quit before they actually start selling, or they know that they can sell consistently. So that's one thing. And second thing is not knowing that the sales you've made are actually, doesn't have to be like a lot of income, but it needs to be like, you need to prove your offer. You need to prove whatever you're selling, that the market's actually there and it delivers and people are happy with it. Because
I
if
feel
you sold something
disingenuous
and then,
answering this
3
question.
weeks later you start getting complaints and people say it's shit, you probably shouldn't be selling it anymore. You need to improve something. That's not a good time to quit your job.
I don't like answering this question because I don't have kids or a mortgage or anything like that. Like when I left my job, it was totally different to someone. My decision would have been different if I had, a 1-year-old to feed or a mortgage that had to be paid. My decision was, I'm young. I've got 3 months runway. Let's see if I can do something out of it. You know what I had no real responsibility. So I feel very disingenuous answering this question, to be honest. Because I don't know what I would have done if I had kids or a mortgage. I don't know what I would have done. That's just the truth.
There's a chance that my laptop's gonna die soon. And I don't have a spare USB-C port, so you change my camera.
I'm going to just have a shorter show. Oh God, he's gone. Right, so it's back to just the free guy. Not for real. I just dropped my AirPod, but I caught it smooth. I left my job in 2023. So yeah, I've been self-employed nearly 3 full years. When I initially left, I had like 3 months headway. I'd done the entire work for a full marketing team basically for like 10 months because no one else in the team fucking did anything. So I just thought, you know what, I've run this founders account. I've done a lot of marketing, done a lot of lead generation for them. I just thought, you know what, I can do it myself. And if I've got 3 months headway, no kids, no mortgage, why not just see if I can do it? And then 3 months later, I was making almost what I did in my 9 to 5. I'd signed like 2 clients from nothing. They were relatively small projects. One lasted like 2 weeks. One lasted like 1 lasted 8 weeks, but it was like a weekly payment sort of thing. So we got to Christmas and I had a really bad January. So I started doing Amazon Flex just like 3 times a week for a couple of hours. And then I started getting the ball rolling again in February. And I've never particularly looked back. So there's my answer to that question, my guy. Yep, you are. And
with a shitty camera. I did not think about it. What do Alex do in his business? I forgot. Alex does coaching and consulting for small businesses, solopreneurs, and startups. I do that part-time now because I also work on a startup called the Founders Tree, which is like a matching platform for entrepreneurs, leaders, and creators. So private business network. Basically, I'm building that should be launching properly in a few months. And I do this. I talk about business. But mostly I just, fix businesses.
So what's the next?
I don't really teach people. I don't do like courses and stuff. I do tailored one-to-one consulting. So if you have a business problem, you want to scale up, you don't know what to do, or something just doesn't work in your business, you come to me, we talk about it, and we sort it out. I don't do the whole start a business, make money bullshit. That's not really me. Anyway,
so what's the next?
Shall we move to the next question?
Yeah, let's do the third one.
This is actually, I don't know if you're gonna have much say. Probably not gonna have much. This is more for me, probably. How do VC-backed startups hire? I'm not talking about pre-revenue startups that don't have anything. I mean startups that have already raised funds and need to hire fast. What do you do and how do you hire quickly? What is the process? So we're talking not pre-revenue, so probably not like a pre-seed or seed. We're talking maybe like a solid seed or Series A. So these are the companies that raise at least a couple of mil. Your first hires normally will come from either your current network or the investors network. So this might be some of the key leadership roles or the engineering roles, depending on what you do. Most of the time, by the time you already start applying for funding and start talking to investors, they would want to know who's in your team or who's in your potential team. So by the time the funding gets approved, usually the first few hires are sorted. Then after that, depending on what you need, if you start scaling fast and need people quickly, I would say the best thing to do is actually just hire a recruiter or a small agency rather than recruit on board. Maybe hire some agencies. Because a lot of startups make that mistake. They spend too much time on hiring and they run it like fundraising. They spend ages. Whereas if you talk to a specialist recruiter, chances are you can literally start someone, you can get the right person within a couple of days for some key roles like engineering roles. And maybe leadership within a couple of weeks, which is necessary because you have to move fast. So I would just outsource it to either recruiter, specialist, expert recruiter, headhunter that's really good at what they do, or just get an agency, right? Rather than hiring a whole sales team or a marketing team, just get an agency to get you started, set up the processes, hit the ground running, and then maybe they can help you hire, or you've got time to hire once you've got some data metrics and know exactly what's needed, what size of team you need, who you need, and so on. But I wouldn't try to hire, especially if you have no experience hiring. So that's a short answer. I don't know, Joe, if
Okay.
you haven't got experience, but I don't know if any of your
No.
clients.
Well, yeah, I work with startups, but I don't help them with hiring. I
I don't
think,
know if you've heard any stories.
I mean, some of them hire me instead of full-time employees because I'm like a ready-to-go person who can perform today, and they don't have to embed them into everything, give them loads of workers' rights and all that sort of stuff. But to be honest, it isn't my area of expertise. I wouldn't be particularly confident giving a strong opinion.
So we're gonna do one more. This is an interesting question, actually, Joe.
Can it
You
be
might have
something
an
that I've got?
opinion.
Okay, do I have
Yeah,
an
you
opinion on
can
this
have an
one? Oh,
opinion on
nice.
this. It's a bit weird, actually, but I'm sure you've seen something around that. Business awards for small local businesses. Are there
Oh,
any that aren't just scams? My wife and I own and operate a small HVAC company that we started a few years back. Recently, we started getting emails for Best of awards stating that we've been recognized as one of the top businesses in the area. We do all right for ourselves, but we're not killing it or anything, so I can't help but feel skeptical of these things, especially since some of them are asking us to pay them $500 for an award.
you got to. They say, "Oh, you're nominated," but then you've got to buy like 50 tickets or something, don't you? It's something like, that's what happens, I think.
Most of the time they ask for a payment, so they're like, well, you've been nominated. If you'd like to join, you have to pay you have to pay like 2,000 or something, or some of them I seen charging like $5,000.
I know one of them. I know one person I know was nominated for one, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't have to pay, and I didn't have to pay to be nominated or pay to win or whatever." But then you started you had to sell like 30 tickets, I think, to the actual awards night. And if you didn't sell those 30 tickets, he was like pulled from nominations. So he did really have to pay to be
I've not seen
nominated.
that. I've not seen that, but I've seen a lot of them charging. So I have a very, very short answer. Yes, these are absolute scams and absolutely pointless. Do not worry. The real awards usually don't send out emails to businesses. I mean, sometimes they do, if you're really good at something. But the real awards do not require you to pay. They usually get their money from sponsors. So they get sponsors to be presented during the award night and during the advertising and marketing campaign. They don't require the actual businesses to pay. They might ask you for an application to be put through. So you might need to submit an application, but you shouldn't have to pay for an award. If you have to pay for an award, it is absolutely fake and a scam. A lot of people actually get scammed on this. A lot of people believe in it. I've seen on LinkedIn plenty of people, hey, we've won this award. And like, you paid £5,000 for an award.
Unless you
So,
unless you got money to burn and you'd like to feel your own ego, they're pointless.
yeah, if you just wanna, stroke your EP in a bit and say, hey guys, do a LinkedIn post. I've won an award.
Yeah, it's a massive ego trip. I guess it's positive PR. I guess to someone who doesn't know what the topic is, but it's mainly just an ego trip. It's pointless unless you want to fuel your own ego or you just have money to burn.
Real publications that do an actual awards, there's a couple in UK that are really big, and none of them charge money to be put towards, to be submitted, and usually you're picked from the crowd as well. Question from Jad. I got a question. I own 60 acres of land here. What are more creative ways to generate money other than traditional methods? My question to you, what do you mean traditional methods, like farming? What do you mean? What is traditional? What is not traditional? That's hard to say, right? What can you do with 60 acres of land? It depends where it is. Do you have access to electricity, water? Can you build on it? Can you build property? Property for sale, right? Rentals. Can you build rentals? That's usually most profitable. Glamping is really, really big, has been big for the last few years, and if it's in a good location, if it's like in a nice natural area, near a hiking spot, giving the land on rent. Yeah, glamping is really, really profitable. So if you're in a good area for that, I would consider that. So just put up some nice tents, some portaloos, couple of services, you can make really big back. I've seen even in Thailand here, couple of glamping spots where they literally charge you like 40 quid a night to sleep in a tent. Which is more than a hotel costs here.
You would never.
Do it. They do it for an experience.
Honestly, I'd rather kill myself than sleep in a tent. I would. You are never ever going to get me in a tent or a caravan.
Basically, glamping is like glamorous camping, right? So rather than bringing your own tent and go camping, the ground already provides tents, and sometimes they're a bit nicer. So it might be tent with like a mattress, right? So rather than sleeping on a mat, you might have a bed mattress in your tent, might have some nice lights, a couple of shelves. So it's like a furnished tent and stuff. That's super profitable. Yeah. Okay. Anything recreational, hospitality wise, it's probably the best.
I'm not sleeping in a tent.
Can you do, again, depends on the location. Can you do like, I don't know, archery or something, axe throwing, right? Like a more theme based but focused business, right? Hospitality business of any kind that doesn't require you to build massive buildings. That's fairly low investment, right? Like an archery range or something. If it's close. what I've seen some people do again, if it's close to a big city, even like, playgrounds for pets and stuff. Fairly easy to set up, like pet parks. Again, it really depends on the location. If it's in the middle of nowhere, right, camping related or something, or like a warehouse, right? If you can build a warehouse, if it's in the middle of nowhere, but with access to a good road, good transport, storage is always needed, but that's a bit more expensive.
No, I've just zoned out because my gym just made a post about the thing this morning, and it was very nice. So I just had to accept collaboration.
That's it for the business ambulance. Let's move to some more business topics because we've got some more interesting topics on here. Joe, do you want to pick one?
Oh, I don't have the tab open. Let's open it again. We need to get some stories that aren't so tech related on this. We need to get some like sports business or like some more PR style stuff or some like pop culture business rather than just tech and AI. Because I'm very bored of talking about tech and AI. Oh, nice. Jack's got a topic. We'll talk about what he wants to talk about. Let's go, bro. What you want to talk about? The suspense is killing me. I'd rather talk about what you want to than AI and tech. Oh my God, everything's about AI or tech, for fuck's sake. Okay, 20 isn't. Okay, funny story, actually.
I think that's more after the show. Talk to show to
funny story. Funny story. Okay, I'm not going to tell the full story, but I will say one thing. It was in 2021 and lockdown had just ended. And, living by yourself during lockdown isn't the most fun thing in the world. So, I like loaded up all the dating apps because, that's what you do the second lockdown ends. And the only one was, game was the word you just mentioned. So I said, okay, not on LinkedIn. No, I'm not writing a post about a bag of MILF on LinkedIn. That's like the worst thing you can think of. But so my advice would be get on Tinder, get on Hinge. Hinge is probably better. And make your profile look as young and as pretty as possible because that's what those sorts of women look for from experience. So that was a great topic, my guy.
They call him the pretty boy for a reason.
If you've got any more topics like you want to mention, do it, and I will answer them.
Only business topics, please.
That was basically a marketing campaign. I knew where those customers would. I knew where the customers would be. The MILFs. They would be on dating apps. I then created a marketing campaign, a profile specifically targeted to those people, and then put myself out there. I put myself where my customers were and gave them marketing they responded to. There we go. I've turned it into a business lesson.
Pick one.
Do 20.
This is good news. FTC click to cancel my mandate heads to final vote. Following the proposed rulemaking tracked earlier this year, the Federal Trade Commission is moving to a final vote on its click to cancel rule. The mandate will legally require businesses to make canceling a subscription as simple as signing up, specifically targeting the negative option marketing traps that traps users in recurring billing. For small business owners and SaaS founders, this requires an immediate audit of billing user experience. If a customer can join in one click, they must be able to leave in one click. Failure to comply could result in heavy fines and mandatory restitutions to customers.
Good.
That's good news. That's a great news because if you've ever tried to cancel a Kin subscription,
some breaking news just came in. We should talk about it. Kim Jong-un officially wins North Korea's parliamentary election for the 15th time in a row. Breaking news. Who would have thought? Who would have thought a dictator would have a 99.93% of the vote? I wonder who the
So-
0.07 who voted against. I wonder if they're going to get killed.
There's an interesting talking point on this bit here. Will this rule lead to churn crisis for platforms that historically relied on passive forgotten subscriptions for the MRR? I don't know if they're gonna add anything about like forgotten stuff.
I refuse to subscribe to anything because of this subscription bullshit. Because I will forget to cancel it and I end up losing
subscribe to a
loads.
gym?
No.
You don't have a gym membership?
I buy a year's subscription up front and I pay 10 months for the price of 12. See, I don't. I've cancelled every. So, and then my fighting gym, I don't have to pay there anymore. I'm the face of the gym, so they kind of need me to stay. So I've got to make it want to. But yeah, I don't even pay a gym subscription. I buy a year up front, but I only pay 10 months for the privilege.
A gym.
Yes, that's why I don't. That's why I don't subscribe monthly anymore.
I've been before I left to Asia, in Sheffield. I tried to cancel my gym membership. You cannot cancel your gym membership. You have to go in person and fill in a fucking cancellation form in person.
I'm trying to think.
To cancel your gym membership?
I subscribe to my CRM. I subscribe to my CRM.
You cannot do it over chat, email, phone. You have to go in person.
I've subscribed to my CRM. That's one thing I subscribe to. That's a monthly payment. I pay Spotify up front for a year. I refuse to get trapped in that monthly loop.
Amazon Prime is most famous.
Car insurance.
Amazon. They actually got sued for it. Last year they got fined. Amazon doesn't give a shit because like however many $100 million is like nothing. It's not even a margin of error on the statement. But they got sued for you being like literally being unable to cancel because it will like keep asking more questions and looping and like moving buttons. So they will like change the wording. So instead of saying like, yes, I want to cancel, it will say like, yes, definitely, I want to keep my subscription. It's like, so like, it moves you to yes, but the yes actually means no, and it moves you back, and like, it's got like this forever dark pattern loop where you literally cannot cancel. It takes
the way me and my mates get around this is we all have access to like 5 subscription services, but each of us only pay for one. Like I pay for Paramount, someone else pays for Netflix, someone else pays for Amazon. You know what I mean? So we just split it. That's how we get around it. We all have access to it. So instead of all 5 of us paying for like 5 different ones ourselves, each of us just buy one, shares the account.
Yeah, Diego. The plan is for this to be for all subscriptions. So I really hope, it does make it. I don't know. Like I don't like the shitty business practice. It will lower.
I just hate subscriptions.
It will drop a lot of money for a lot of SaaS businesses, especially. But it's a good thing. Like, if somebody doesn't want your fucking service, they should be able to get out of it. They shouldn't have to need like a psychology degree to figure out your cancellation form.
I just hate the subscription business model as it is. I'm going to talk about it like one of the first shows. One of the topics was like subscription fatigue or something. Like, I hate it. If I see one of the options is like subscription, like that's the only way to pay for your SaaS or your product, I'm just not going to pay for it. I'll find something else. I just hate everything associated with the subscription sort of thing.
Right. Let's pick another one. I'm gonna go for number 7. Actually, Diego, you're gonna have an opinion on that. Diego, by the way, do you wanna join us on stage, or do you wanna sit in the comments? I'm gonna pop you a DM on LinkedIn if you wanna join us quickly. If you don't,
And seven is actually
know, but
pretty interesting.
yeah, I'm trying to open LinkedIn inbox. Oh my god. Wi-Fi is not the best. Well, you can give it a go. Oh. Come on, LinkedIn inbox, load. Jesus. By the way, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, drop us a sub if you're enjoying the show. I would massively appreciate it. We're trying to get the 1,000 subs. It's a long grind. Every little bit helps. And pop a like or a comment. All right. Diego's got a link. We'll see if he shows up or not. And we've got the next topic. Zero-click search. Data from early 2026 shows that 60% of searches now end without a click, as AI provides summaries and answers directly to the results page. This has triggered a death spiral for traditional informational SEO sites. Founders are being forced to pivot to brand-only search strategies, ensuring that customers search for them by name rather than generic keywords. Small businesses must focus on EEAT experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. We've talked about it last time. So there are sources that AI agents choose to cite rather than just being a training data. Hey Diego, how are you doing? I don't know if you are muted or your internet has given up, but I cannot hear you or see you move. Joe, you still with us?
Yeah, let's be honest about this zero-click search thing. How many? That's 60% seems like the right number. Like my own Google searches end with AI most of the time, or like probably about 60% of the time. I go for a quick answer. If I've got a click, if I get a quick answer straight away, I'll go with that rather than reading a full 10-paragraph article. It's common sense.
Diego's back. What do you think, Diego? Did you get that? Oh. We're losing him. Okay,
Nah, it's
Diego,
not
I don't
gonna
know.
happen, bro.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like your internet is going. So maybe next time. Well, it was worth a try. This is, yeah, Joe, like you said, like the thing is people don't realize how much of a problem this is for especially like media
Is it a
companies. Do you
problem?
know?
Oh,
So
for the media
yeah.
companies, yeah. I thought you meant for the user. I just thought for the user, it's
No,
just
not for
easier.
users, for companies. So number one, like even like you said, right? So let's take your example.
Let's get the big G on the show.
You know,
Message
we've talked
Alex on
about your
LinkedIn and you
website
can come
and
on
your
the
blog,
show.
right? We've talked about your website and your blog, for example, last time where you got some traffic. Well, some of that traffic is gonna be dropped, right? Because and this is really annoying. Like Google and AI is actually not always citing the website, so they might say it. You've written that article about marketing for energy firms, right? If somebody's looking for that topic, the AI can just pick out bits of your blog and say, "Oh yeah, this is what you have to do," but it's not gonna actually say this came from your website.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So rather than people going to your website and reading that and potentially getting in touch,
It
they
does
just
kind of
go,
suck. Like when you phrase it like
bad,
that, it is
bad,
kind of bad and
really,
it does
really
kind of
toxic.
suck.
And like for you, it's not your main source of business, but imagine for some business it is. So Have you
Oh
heard
yeah,
of
I can
ratings?
imagine. I can imagine, like from that standpoint, it does suck a lot.
Have you heard
But
of ratings? So ratings, it's spelled Rtings. They do like tech reviews, literally for everything, like all tech, like TVs, mobile phones, things like that. They're like the biggest media company for that. They're massive. They've got database of like hundreds and thousands of products and like all the details. So if you're ever looking for like headphones, you know, speakers, TV, any like tech stuff, they are the place to go. And they almost died overnight because of those changes. Because like suddenly, like nobody was going to the website, so the advertising, because they were dependent on advertising revenue, because you would go to an website and they would have an ad, and the traffic dropped so much from it because AI will just like steal the data from the website and not give them a link. It dropped so much that they were forced to make all of their reviews paid only. They had to lock it behind membership. So now you have to pay for a membership before you can read it. Before it was all free, it was like a huge database. Now they have to start charging people for the reviews because the business was just like almost collapsed overnight. It's crazy. And the same is gonna be
it's,
for like all the media news companies, right? Just
it's
poof.
on one hand, it does suck, but Jesus Christ, at least I caught my headphone. It just fell out my ear. On one hand, it does it does suck for those businesses, obviously, but they've established that one method for years and years, all that sort of stuff. But it's just how the world works. Something come. I mean, I assume. Do you remember the old phone book back in the day, in like the 80s and 90s, or whatever? They they got all their clients from being in the phone book, yada yada yada. Clever marketing on the phone book. The internet comes in, totally kills the phone book. They then have to adapt. It's just the common cycle of life in the world in general. Things change. Adapt to it or don't. The world will move regardless.
Yeah, so Diego said the thing with the US here is now you have to work with the browser, the AI, yeah, and the humans. So that's what the article said. Basically, they're saying you should more optimize like for brand mentions rather than just data. So you should more mention like your name, Joe, or your company within the blog post. So if the AI search comes up, if it just steals a bunch of stuff, it might say like Joe Carson said this, or Joe Carson suggests this. So it's gonna still pull your name, and they might go, "Oh, who is this guy?" And then they might find you and still, get maybe some attributions rather than just like, "Oh, we're just gonna take this." So like I get it. Like I think the whole AI summaries are a great feature. I use it all the time. But I do think it's really, really shitty of Google and the other AI advertisers for not always attributing the sources. I feel like it should absolutely attribute the source of where it's got the data from. It should link it. So whatever, give me the summary, but tell me where you got it. Don't just like
No, but if you then
take it.
ask, if you apply to the AI saying, "Tell me where you source this data," it will give it to you.
Or it will hallucinate and just like make shit up. Like, oh yeah, I got it from these websites. Then you look at the websites don't even exist. So I hope
As
there is
bad as
some
it
sort of
sounds,
regulation. I really hope that there is some sort of regulation comes up that makes it, because it also opens up for the shitty practice of the big tech companies just completely taking over the market even more and forcing people to pay for ads, right? So OpenAI is gonna start pushing ads into ChatGPT. I think they started already. Um, and now imagine like, so now they're basically saying, well, if you don't pay us for ads, you'll just never appear online anywhere. Like your website, everything you ever post online is useless. People never gonna find you. You have to pay us for ads. That's a shit thing. That's not going to help the market, right? If the AI companies own the internet, because
Then
now
people
they
will
just
just
gonna
stop.
say,
Then
you have to
people.
pay us to appear on the internet.
Then people will just stop using the internet. It's how the cycle of business and life works. People will start going to a new social media platform or going fully focused on Instagram or something like that. If the internet starts taking the piss to this massive extent, people will find somewhere else. That's how users work. It might take a couple of years, it might take a while, but I think complaining that AI search is taking all my
Is the
organic
internet
traffic,
dead? Is
I
the
think
internet
people.
dead?
I don't know. If people complain about AI search is taking all my organic traffic, yada yada yada, and you shouldn't have relied on it so much in the first place. And if you are relying on it that much, you should have saw this trend happening 6 months ago. You should have seen it happening a year ago, and you should have adapted by this time to have some other sort of channel. It's the world works like this: business, life, cycles. Things come to an end, and if you've been relying on organic traffic for years in your business, you should have another channel, another stream, so it doesn't die overnight. This is poor planning, trying to blame something that was always going to happen.
It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It basically says like internet as we know it and as it's been for the last whatever 40 years, it might just die. It might die with that change, might completely die, just disappear.
Good. Things change. When something changes,
You're
maybe
only gonna
again,
be speaking to AI now. You're not gonna look on the internet.
maybe this is a personality profile thing. But good, something will change. I'll still be alive, and I'll try something else. Who the fuck cares? Things are supposed to change. Life would be boring if things stayed the same forever. Who wants the internet to be the biggest thing in the world in 30 years? I want something new, something fresh, something that I've got to adapt to, something I've got to, do. Anything that encourages people to break.
Metaverse is gonna finally come in.
Anything that encourages people to break the status quo and try some new strategies and all that sort of stuff, good. Is good. Why complain that, oh, it's just so make shit changes? You shouldn't have put all your stock in something that everyone knew was going to happen.
I'm not complaining about that. I'm like, free companies shouldn't be able to control all of the business in the world.
Well, it's too late. Well, it's too late for that. It's too late for that. I should be able to eat anything. I should be able to eat chocolate every day and not get fat. That would be in an ideal world. We don't live in an ideal world. So let's just deal with the fucking hand we're dealt. That's how we're. Yeah, we've just got to deal with the fucking hand we've got, and 3 tech companies run the fucking world. So we need to use what we can.
The thing is, you're not gonna have a choice. If the internet comes crashing down, you're not gonna have a choice. You're gonna work.
We don't have a choice in anything. If the government made it illegal tomorrow to do something I do every day, I won't have a choice. I've got to stop doing it. That's just life. It's life. It's business. How the world works. You can either complain about it, or you can change your strategy and do something about it. There's nothing I hate more than people who complain all the fucking time. So why complain about something?
It's a concern.
It's the same thing. My concern won't change what fucking Google do, will it? No, it won't. So why should I waste my time and energy complaining about it when I can do what I can concern what I do with my own life and focus on what I can control.
Yeah.
Is it me being young not seeing the big picture, or me being young allows me to be more open to change? There's 2 different ways you can look at it.
You've grown up with internet being
since the age of about 10, really,
right?
Since about year 6 at school, give or take.
So now, so you've never seen a world without internet. How do you imagine a world without internet?
No, I'd figure it out. If I woke up tomorrow and the internet wasn't here, I'd figure it out. Because tell me what me stressing about it, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Tell me that's going to help me. It won't help us. It'll just stress us out. Well, I'm a chronic underthinker. I'll just cross that bridge when I get to it. Why cross that bridge now?
I'm not stressing. I'm not worried about it. I lived without the internet. I lived it. So I'll be fine. It's not about that. It's just, yeah, I think it would be sad. It is, the internet is both like this
Was it also sad? Was it also sad in 1955 when the radio stopped being the main entertainment source in UK households in 1955 or 53, whenever the Queen was coronated? That's when most households in the UK got a television for the first time.
But it was amazing, and it still exists.
But who's to say what happens next isn't getting a TV instead of a radio? You know, I'm sure people in the radio business in 1953 were heartbroken and gutted that their business that they'd run for 50, 70 years or whatever was dead. I'm sure they were heartbroken. But you know what? They still woke up the next day and they still got to live life and try something new. Things change. And then Then 50 years later, when people started using iPads and laptops every single day instead of television, I'm sure Sony having to move all their marketing to PS5 and cameras and rather than television. I'm sure they were gutted, but they cracked on and got on with it. Things change. You just adapt to the changes. And if you don't, oh well.
Some of those sci-fi movies might become true, like we'll be just in a closed at home with a headset and not leaving our bed. I think that's
maybe
coming.
So.
Zuckerberg got it right. The metaverse is coming. We're just gonna live in a metaverse. No free will. Nobody can do anything. You're just gonna live in a virtual world controlled by one company. They'll tell you what to think.
Do you actually want to get cancelled? Because I've got a opinion about how we've got to this point, but it will definitely get us cancelled with our most ever viewers in the stream. It will. So if you want me to get us cancelled, I'll happily do it right now.
Don't swear too much.
The biggest reason why these companies can get you might say it's a conspiracy theory or whatever, but my theory about why these companies can get away with this is because it's a massive generational thing. It probably all stems from the government because after World War II, yeah, I'm going back this far, it's a multi-generational theory about how we've got to this point where these massive companies and governments just do whatever they want and exploit all of us to the absolute bone. Because if you look before World War II, look at the communist revolution that almost happened in the UK in the early 30s. Guess what happened? All the working men and all the factories, all the railroads, all that sort of stuff, marched out of London and essentially charged at the government and the royal family. They did that. That was an actual action. They didn't mouth off to their mates in the local pub. They didn't complain about anything on the farms. They pretty much just gathered around in an army and attacked the establishment, right? And the government looked at that and thought, shit, we can't exploit people to this extent. So then after World War II, when they realized, okay, there's probably not going to be another world war because we've just, essentially spread our message that we're not going to have another Hitler or another nasty dictator. So what they did is they then tried to feminize all men, because men were the people who stormed the government building and the royal family in the 30s and the communist revolution. So they then introduced the nuclear family, brought in all of this basic standard of living, and that worked for a long time until the 70s. In the 70s, in the dark winter in Britain, I think it was 74, 75, they stopped picking up garbage, all the power went off. The power only worked 3 days a week. And they noticed then, the men aren't protesting like they did 40 years ago. They're not charging the government and they're not charging the royal family. We can get away with something here. And Thatcher noticed that. When Thatcher came into power a decade later, she just stripped everything from the working man and essentially made them slaves to the state. And that's yes, my guy, you support this theory. So So they deliberately feminized men after World War II because they were like, we're not going to have another world war. We don't need an army of men to go and fight in France or fight in Germany
They
or
do now.
go to Stalingrad. No, they don't. They will never need an army as big as World War II again in a world of nuclear weapons. They won't. They don't need every fighting age man to go and scrap in the Middle East. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen. Also, because we feminize all these men now, these tech companies can get away with all this. The government can get away with what they've done with the cost of living over the decade because no one's going to go down to London like they did in the 1930s and storm Parliament or storm the royal family like they did 100 years ago.
Anymore. Actually, what Diego said, like,
who cares about this? I'm still on about my genius theory. Because this was all deliberate. Because men now can't go and storm down in the 30s because, the government introduced mortgages and they've now got a 30-year mortgage that they've got to be at work at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, so they can't go and storm all the bullshit that's happening to them. Because the government have them by the balls. This deliberate feminization of men is why we've got the society in the world we have today.
Have you looked at the riots in like Pakistan, in Nepal? That's not a good thing. So I don't think so. On one hand, you say like, because we're not gonna do it. Like, have you seen some of the recent riots? It's not a good thing. Like,
look at the history of the world.
People die because people just ban everything.
People are dying now on the streets of starvation. People are getting their homes taken away from them by all that sort. People are going to die regardless. But if you look at the history of human history, violence is the only thing that ever solved anything. When you say, we talked in the room. Bullshit. The Romans conquered the whole of Europe with violence. Hitler conquered Europe with violence. The UK and the Allies got Europe back with violence. It's this feminization of men in society. That's why these companies and the government can exploit us like we are, because we can't do anything because none of us will. That's why I hate TikTok, why I hate Twitter, because all it is people voicing their displeasure with things on social media instead of actually doing something.
Here's the question. So let's assume they did, right? We
marched
down onto government, right? What happened?
Something. I don't know what happens, but surely something is better than
nothing. We're too connected. People can't, like, what you gonna do?
What do you mean? Look at what they did in the 30s. You realise the UK nearly went communist, right?
How are you gonna survive if the internet goes down? How are you gonna survive now?
What? You realise human history, like 90% of it was without the internet, right? The sun will come up tomorrow and we'll survive again.
We weren't reliant on it.
You sound like football fans when they were like Spurs. What are you gonna do without Harry Kane? Well, do you know what they did without Harry Kane? They woke up the next day and went to train and played football.
Stop for a second, Joe. Stop for a second.
I am literally right on this.
From the government, the internet gets shut down. What do?
We wake up tomorrow and the world goes on.
And do what?
I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
You can't eat because all of the factories, everything's connected. You can't drive. Cars are connected to electronics.
You realize it would literally be solved in like a week.
So
it would be solved in less than a week.
The factories stop. The shops stop. You can't get food. You can't get transport. You can't get money.
Are you mentally retarded? Like, genuinely, are you mentally retarded here? The phone still exists. So all these factories that did all their orders online. You realize in the 80s they used to pick up the phone.
Goes down.
Are you dumb? Like, seriously? Look, I'm opening my phone now, pressing the keypad. Oh, look, I'm ringing people without the internet.
No, but the network's gonna go down.
That's not the You realize people had phones before the internet. Landlines still exist. No one used it, but it's still here.
But the current technology is dependent on internet.
Bro, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. Because as much as like people annoy me, the world still goes on the next day. You know, people will find a solution within a week. Because humans are smart, whether we like it or not. The smart people will find a solution within a week. So you're telling me if everything goes down, we're all going to die?
Yeah.
The world goes on. The world moves on. People wake up the next day and people move on with their lives. Things are never as bad as you're trying to make
access
it
your bank,
out.
so you have no money. You have no access to money.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to physically walk to the bank. Oh my God.
What do you mean?
Out of here.
Do you think banks got cash?
No.
Do you think banks got all your money in cash?
No, obviously not. But you realize humans. So let's just say 1940. Say about 1955 when the UK started being a proper country. You know, there was no internet in 1955 to 1970, and it was the most successful period of British history ever. It would take legitimately less than a week to get to that point.
Forget the history. No, it's not. Today is different.
If you look at the best way to predict the future is to look at the past.
We weren't reliant on technology.
Yeah, please, honestly, Alex, just think. Please, just think.
Nothing.
It's like you've got this chronically online perception because you spend so much time online.
People that will be unaffected is people living in remote places on farms.
What?
That's the only people that will be unaffected.
Everyone will be affected. Everyone will be affected, yeah, but it'll be solved in like a week, maybe 10 days at most. Humans are smart. Things change. So, by your logic here, if you were in 1945 and all the soldiers were coming back, or let's say 1918 after World War I, all the soldiers are coming back from the trenches in France, they'll be like, oh my God, how are they going to adapt to society? They're going to kill us all. They're going to kill us all, yada, yada, yada. Then the next day, they go.
The world wasn't dependent on technology back then.
Oh my God.
It was a different world. Now every single thing, every single part of your life is now dependent on technology. There isn't a single part of your life.
Maybe your life, bro.
Literally, the places controlling your electricity and water are connected to the internet.
Yes, it's connected to the internet.
Internet to control everything.
But
you're not gonna have anything.
You're like, honestly, Brian, you're retarded.
That will
I think you're mentally retarded. I honestly think you're mentally retarded here. You've been like so brainwashed
from that topic.
You've been so brainwashed by being chronically. You've been like so brainwashed by this, or you're so chronically online that you spend so much time on social media that this is now all of your opinion. But by the way, I've got a meeting now, so the show's over. I've got to leave. So great show, guys. Yeah.
You can't have a meeting now. We're not finished.
Well, I'm leaving. I've got a meeting 2 minutes ago.
Cancel it.
No. Yeah, bro. You're my favorite guy, so I will catch you guys later.
Diego, your internet's still not fixed? Do you want to try and come back? Sorry, guys, Joe is not supposed to book meetings for during the show. So I'll just cover a couple more topics. I don't know if you guys want to join me on chat or join me on stage. Let me know. There are a few more things this week that are quite interesting. Number one, Google multimodal search indexing targets podcasts. So Google is overhauling how it understands non-text content with the official launch of multimodal search indexing. This update allows Google AI to index and comprehend audio clips and video elements directly within search results. This is massive, rather than rely on written transcripts. So in case you guys didn't know, before, if you search something about video on YouTube with AI or a podcast, it would need access to the transcript first, and then just have to read the transcript, where now it can directly understand the audio, the voice, and the parts of the video. So for podcasters and video creatives, this means the search engine can now pinpoint the exact 10-second moment in a 40-minute podcast that answers a specific user query. Small businesses can also use new AI landing pages that automatically personalize product presentations. No worries, Diego. So this is interesting for a couple of main reasons, and the main one, I think, is it actually makes video and audio content, so podcast and videos, better in terms of SEO and traffic, because it will directly understand everything rather than being relying on the transcript. So it definitely opens up a lot of opportunities. I don't know, Diego, what do you think about it? I'm not sure about the AI constructed landing web pages. We might need to dive into that a bit more. But yeah, a topic here is, does multimodal indexing make an SEO blog post obsolete? If a short video clip can now claim the top spot for a complex question. That's a very interesting point. I'll be wondering if that means that Google gonna start indexing TikTok searches a lot better now with videos, because TikTok doesn't directly provide transcripts like YouTube does, right? When YouTube processes a video, it automatically processes the audio and adds a transcript. That's why YouTube has been the search king. But now with this, will it mean that it's gonna read more Instagram searches, more TikTok searches, or any other video on the web? Maybe even video uploaded to your own website. Diego's internet run out. We'll be curious to see about that. I'm gonna cover maybe one more topic since Joe's not here. We're gonna finish early and head out. This one's interesting as well. Australia right to disconnect. Laws hit small businesses. Australia new right to disconnect laws have officially extended to small businesses this week, sparking a massive debate over flexibility in the digital era. So, in case you don't know, the law allows employees to refuse to monitor, read, or respond to contacts from the employers outside of working hours, unless that refusal is unreasonable. For small business owners who rely on being agile and after-hours communication to solve problems, this creates a bit of a compliance headache. So is this law going to be a problem to the scrappy startup culture where startups work, 24/7 basically and never sleep? It's quite interesting, but this is in Australia only. I wonder if UK is gonna I don't think US will allow it, but I think UK might definitely hop on that. So it's interesting. Can a small businesses genuinely survive the 9 to 5 boundaries in a 24/7 global economy? If you're an online business, it's definitely more of a problem than it is for like local brick and mortar businesses. And also, how do you define unreasonable contact in a contract to ensure your business doesn't grind to a halt on weekends? I don't know, like for hospitality, that could be a problem as well. I know lot when I was younger, when I work on hospitality. Like, it's the thing when people don't show up, for example, right? Or you've got someone running late or something, and you need a replacement member of staff. You can't call them. They're allowed to just not pick up the phone. Bro, will anyone die if internet doesn't exist? I don't want to dwell into this topic again, but yeah, it will definitely happen. Like, a lot of things will stop working. So I don't think we'll get to that. I think we're too connected to start being disconnected suddenly, but who knows what the future holds. Any other questions, guys, before we finish and close down for today? In the meantime, if you enjoy the show, drop us a sub on YouTube, guys, and follow me on LinkedIn or whatever else if you need any business help or anything, or if you have any questions that you want answered. No, mate, it's not just you. There's about 40 people watching. I think some of them are on X on Twitter rather than on YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't get to monitor comments from Twitter. So sorry, guys. If you're writing comments on Twitter, I can't see you. You might have to come over to YouTube or drop me a DM on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is my X bio. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. As always, every Wednesday, 2 p.m. GMT, we talk about the hottest business news, topics, and tips. Thanks so much for coming. And Jad, thanks, mate, so much for coming. Join us next week if you want. And if you have any questions, also feel free to drop them. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.